Okay. I think we're on. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. So, hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective, with another Love Your Liver live stream, Friday morning, beautiful day. Got some fun stuff to go over today. Got a couple things to cover. Just constantly debunking the nonsense put out there. We got a testimonial today. And first, I wanted to cover something about vitamin A deficiency and serum retinol deficiency and what happens to it with age. Now, for those of you who don't know, I started putting all my social media links. They'll all be in the information below the video. So if you want to find me out there, Twitter's where I'm most active. And I know Twitter is kind of a battleground and people don't want to go there, but I've actually found, let me just say, I found Twitter to be extremely mentally stimulating in a good way. What you do is if you're going to even read your feed, you can go on and just follow somebody and you make sure to follow them and click the notifications so you see everything they post, or you can just go look at their feed and you can find exactly what you want to find. I don't go and talk to people who I'm not interested in on Twitter. I only look at the people who I'm interested in. And I found it extremely productive and beneficial in that way. So anyway, I'm on Twitter as NutriDetect, and that's probably the place, NutriDetect, because I can't fit Nutrition Detective. But anyway, some of these stuff we're going to go over today is from posts on my Twitter. So what I'm going to go over, I'm going to put this right here. As we always do, I like to put links and have references. Very interesting thing. So the people out there saying that retinol deficiency is everywhere. And somebody actually tried to say that retinol deficiency is a cause of cancer. Now, let's be clear. Retinol in the body does nothing other than be toxic. That's why we make retinol binding protein. Misinformed people like to say that retinol binding protein is just, it's a little helper and it delivers it to our tissues. And no, free retinol in the research, free retinol unbound is extremely toxic, which is why our body makes retinol binding protein, which is why retinol binding protein in certain studies is used as a surrogate test for how much retinol you have floating around in your system, because your body tries to bind it up as much as possible. And if you don't bind it up enough, you get problems because free retinol is absolutely toxic, okay? So let's just say that the research shows in various multiple ways that serum retinol, your blood level of vitamin A, goes up as you age. Okay. Let's logically look at the idea that cancer is a retinol deficiency, and yet serum retinol goes up as we age. Do we tend to associate cancer as kind of a disease of aging? Do old people get more cancer than young people? I think we can pretty safely assume that that's true. So if serum retinol goes up as we age, here's the paper. And the quote from it, from the conclusions, serum retinol increases with age. There's not a lot of hesitation in that statement, is there? And males have higher mean values than do females aged 29 to 50 years. Men have higher serum retinol than women. I see this in practice. This is just the way it is. So serum retinol increases with age, and cancer happens more in older people. But it's starting to move younger and younger, is it not? Who's out here saying that people are getting more and more vitamin A toxic and more liver injury, and we see more and more jaundiced babies? Just happen to be yellow. There is no such thing as a retinol deficiency. Retinol itself is only a poison. They actually claim that active vitamin A, the stuff that actually does stuff, is retinoic acid. That's the stuff that does stuff. That's also the same compounds. 13-cis retinoic acid is also sold, the stuff in the body that you turn vitamin A into, that's sold to you as Accutane. The same stuff that they use in the studies that they call retinoic acid typically is all trans retinoic acid. That's made from vitamin A in your body. Retinol turns into all trans retinoic acid. Also, all trans retinoic acid is sold to you as Retin A. 9-cis retinoic acid is another retinoic acid that vitamin A turns into your body. That's sold as chemotherapy. And Accutane and Retin A are also used as chemotherapy. I personally don't want to be taking anything into my body that modern medicine uses as chemotherapy. And the whole natural versus synthetic thing, you folks need to really watch my video on that. There is no difference. You can't find one single piece of research that shows that in the same dosage and in the same forms, natural and synthetic vitamin A act any way differently in the body. And if you try to say that it's in a food matrix and that makes it less toxic, that's not true. There's nothing to support that. And if you do actually believe that, then what you're saying is that vitamin A is toxic and you need the other stuff in food to protect you from it. So just stop. We're doing real science here. We're not making up alternative fantasy land, okay? So then let's go into copper from this paper. Now I want you to remember that anything that modern science wants to tell you, they have a study that says that it's bad for you. And then all of a sudden in the same study, they always start off the paper with, oh, it's good for you for all these reasons. Oh, but then later in the conclusions, they're like, yeah, this didn't end so well. This was bad. So when people bring up the other points in this abstract, it doesn't bother me once. Here's the quote. And I took some part out of this, so it's a shorter sentence. Aging, resulting in higher plasma copper concentrations in the elderly. Aging basically results in higher blood copper concentrations in the elderly. Now, if I were to tell you that when they look at cancers, they also tend to find higher levels of copper in the cancers. Cancer kind of goes along with aging, does it not? And I can tell you that most people on a fairly normal diet are nowhere into copper deficiency in their diet. You actually have to work damn hard to get less than the RDA of copper in normal foods. You have to work damn hard. So we see that copper in the blood goes up with age. We see that things like tumors have lots of cancer or copper in them. You know that the US government has said that there's so little vitamin A deficiency in this country that they removed the requirement for manufacturers to put vitamin A content in their foods. So people trying to say that this is like a big problem are just delusional. And another post on copper, a guy was talking about how, usually if your enemy is messing up, you don't need to stop them. You just let them continue messing up and let them ruin themselves. So to the vitamin A and copper pushers out there, I want you to know, I don't have to do anything. Your own health will show us your folly in the future. I don't have to do a thing. I just wait you out. It's like a siege. I can just sit and wait. It's not going to end well. I don't want it to end badly for you. I want you to come to your senses first and realize that these things are toxic and that you're selling people toxic ideas and concepts, and that I fix your broken people. I get them later. That's why I always say, remember my name. I don't need to convince you now. I just let nature take its course. So anyway, on to the next part. This was actually, let's do the other one. I wanted to cover the classic bodybuilder diet. So for those of you guys, gym bros, us lifting meathead bros, who remember like the 80s and 90s, the very classic bodybuilder diet. These guys were the biggest and the leanest guys around. Now, of course, there's steroids involved. Don't get me wrong. There's steroids involved. There was growth hormone involved. Don't get me wrong. That's all that stuff is ruining their liver, and that's why bodybuilders die early. But the diet they were on that they used was the classic bodybuilder diet was chicken breast, no skin, white or brown rice, and a lot of guys put in some broccoli. They figured they needed to poop, so they put in some broccoli to help them poop. And you never heard about any of them dying of any nutrient deficiencies, did you? That is, so as I go over in the Love Your Liver program, when researchers want to damage the liver of mice or rats, they give them one of the 3 diets to cause liver injury, also known as cholestasis, also known in my world as toxic bile in blood. This is how they give them that problem with diets. They either give them a high-fat diet, ketoers, or they give them a high fructose diet, fruitarians, juicers, or they give them a low protein diet, vegans. And that is how they induce the liver injury that they want them to have. So now they're spilling a ton of toxic bile into their blood. So I want you to think about that classic bodybuilder diet. Biggest and leanest guys around, training really hard. High protein, low fat, 0 fructose. Did I say fructose before? High fructose. They use high fructose diets to cause liver injury. I feel like I missed that. High fructose diets are used to induce liver injury. So we have, so the ones that we use to induce liver injury, low protein, high fructose, high fat. Any one of those by themselves. What is the classic bodybuilder diet? High protein, 0 fructose, low fat, very low fat. Now we have nose to tail carnivores out there doing high protein, and then a lot of them are realizing that their diet's not working. So now all of a sudden they kind of start taking on Ray Peat concepts, and now they start taking in a ton of fructose. And they're eating a ton of copper and a ton of vitamin A from their choices of foods. I don't have to do anything. I just have to wait. When these folks start crashing, I'm not going to be gentle about it. I'm going to poke out exactly why. I'm going to point it out, and I'm going to poke them with exactly why their health is crumbling. They'll probably hide it from social media because they can't have their image fall apart, right? Anyway, there's that. Last one. This is from a person on my network, a person who tried doing a low vitamin A diet on their own, and then recently came into the Love Your Liver program at nutritiondetective.com. Okay. When I say this is not a game, you can go out there and do this on your own, folks. You can go and read blogs where they kind of say, here's the diet that Dr. Smith recommended like 3 years ago. And that's not what we're doing today. If you don't know, if you were to learn anything about me, it's that I am constantly improving and constantly evolving this process because it's a new process. But I mean, we're 3.5, we're almost 4 years in now. I figure out stuff quick. So let's go over this. I'm not going to go over the person's name, but here we go. Started here. So what she's saying, she started in the Love Your Liver program. Started back on low A 3/7. So March 7th. Okay. That's the Love Your Liver program. Or wait. This is a little confusing. She said started back on low A 3/7. Oh, that's what she means. Started back on low vitamin A diet. This was a little confusing at the start. Let me start over on this. Started back on low vitamin A March 7th. So she went low vitamin A diet, okay? Started paying attention to Dr. Smith's Love Your Liver program April 13th, a month, 5 weeks ago, which I did not do the first time I went low vitamin A in 2018. A huge mistake. In the last 9 or so weeks, so that's including the low vitamin A plus being on the Love Your Liver program, I've experienced the following improvements. Reduced bioidentical hormones in half. Tolerate oxalates better without having excruciating vulvodynia, that's pain down in the genital area, and interstitial cystitis. I still watch it, but I can tolerate going up to the moderate category now. Here's a fun one. Came from keto/carnivore most recently and have significantly and successfully increased carbs from starch from a prior max of 60 to 80 grams daily to 120 to 150 grams per day without issues. Blood pressure improved from 135/90 to 110/70. Bowel movements 1 to 2 times per day now compared to 1 every other day before. Sleep has improved about 60%. I've had circadian rhythm issues for over 20 years due to working nights. End testimonial. Low vitamin A diet. When she did this on her own, 2018, her own words, huge mistake. Doing the Love Your Liver program in 9 weeks, cut her bioidentical hormones. She tolerates oxalates better. She can tolerate carbohydrates better. Her blood pressure went down. She's pooping better, and she's sleeping better. This is not a game. You can be, people can, if you have any idea, like I have people come to me who have spent tens of thousands of dollars on other practitioners and only gotten worse. And then they come and I'm still charging $59 to get into this program, which is going to change soon. Probably this weekend. $59. Did you hear what this woman just did? Do you know how many people avoid oxalates all day long, every day, as much as they can? And all that happens is they become more sensitive to oxalates as they go. You want to know what was funny? I started my work, which I really appreciate the people who spread the word, the low oxalate groups on Facebook. Some of those people found me and they came over and they started doing the program and they started tolerating oxalates better. So here's the oxalate progression if you didn't know. You realize that oxalates are a problem for you. Okay. I'm not arguing that. They start eating low oxalate. They feel better. Then they start getting what they think are oxalate dumps. I'm not so sure. Maybe not. Could be something else. So they start getting oxalate dumps and they start improving in certain ways. But then what they find is that they start becoming less and less tolerant of oxalates. So they have to reduce their oxalates even further and further and further and further. Their prison, their nutritional prison, their diet prison is shrinking around them. It sucks. It's not the way it should be. If you're getting better, you should be getting better and more resilient. So then these low oxalate people came and found me and my work. And they start tolerating oxalates better. I talk about oxalates in the program a little bit, but it's really just like, if you know you're sensitive to them, don't eat them. The program is going to make you better. Oxalates go through the ALDH system, the aldehyde dehydrogenase system, the exact same detox system that vitamin A goes through. Gosh, if we stop stressing that system and we take out the negative things that affect it and we put in more positive things that affect it, do you think you could deal with oxalates better? Yeah. Histamine. Do you know that histamine breaks down into aldehydes? Do you know what enzyme system histamine goes through? Oh, it goes through aldehyde dehydrogenase? You have a problem processing histamines? It's all connected. The ALDH system is absolutely of critical importance. And I'm going to tell you that this is one of those things where people get enough rope to hang themselves with some of the words that come out of my mouth, and they go and start looking up ALDH and they go, how to boost ALDH. And they do things that mess themselves up. We don't try to boost ALDH. We simply try to get it back to where it should be and not slow it down. This is why the poison always wins. You're trying to get your body back to its designed state. You are not trying to put a turbocharger on an old crappy car, which is what most people do with supplements. They're trying to put a brand new turbocharger on their broke ass car. Don't do that. All you do is you wear out the car faster. Does that make sense? These concepts all make sense to people. Oh, one of the things I was just going over today was somebody on my Facebook. I was talking to them. I was trying to help somebody about their mold issue. And their practitioner came on and I said, the root cause is first getting away from the mold. If you have mold around, folks, if you have mold in your house, the only thing you need to do is figure out how to get the hell away from it or get it all cut out of your house. Don't try to spray it with crap. Don't try to just close doors and lock it in. Like, you need to get that out of your house or get yourself away from that. You will not get better until you do. You cannot continually poison yourself and then try to take supplements to detox the poison. You will just feel worse. Maybe you've tried it. Maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about. So her practitioner came on and decided to tell me how it works. And she said that lymphatic congestion was the cause of this person's problems. And that was the root cause that they were working on. So another post on my Twitter. Let me go find it. Okay. So I want you to think of your lymphatic system. People will go, oh, my lymph system is congested. Oh, no. I want you to think of your lymph system as the sewer pipes, like the sewage leaving your house. Think of the lymphatics as the sewage pipes, okay? So let's say your toilet line, your sewer line from the toilet was plugged or clogged. So that makes the water back up, right? Now you've got shitty water all over your floors. That's not good, right? That's going to spread disease. Okay. So then let's just look at this logically. Do you then say that the water is the root cause of your problem? Well, no, that seems silly. I mean, the water's not the root cause. The shitty water all over your floors is a symptom. This is where this practitioner was getting stuck, and this is where a lot of people get stuck. Are you going to say that the clogged sewer line is the cause of your problem? The root cause. Most people stop there. But I'm going to say, do you think maybe what you're constantly putting into the toilet is the root cause of the problem? Right? So if we were to go along on this, I'm going to say that what you put into your toilet is the root cause. You know, like people who use wet wipes, too many wet wipes in their toilet, they clog up their sewer lines. What does the plumber say when he comes? And the first question they ask you when you have a clogged toilet line out of your house is they say, are you using wet wipes? And you go, yeah. And they go, stop putting them down the toilet because it clogs your sewer lines. So you then, being the master of what you put into the toilet, think of your liver as ruling what you put into your bloodstream. You can then make a change and not put the problematic thing into your toilet, and voila, the toilet clogs stop happening. Crazy, right? Why do people not think about health like this? The root cause is what you put in the system, the poisons you put in the system that your liver is now having to deal with. Or it's not dealing with it very well and it's spilling into the blood, aka toxic bile, aka cholestasis, aka liver injury. I give you those terms so you can go and look in the literature. Go and type in things you think or you hear me talk about as poisons. Type in that thing, a med you took. Use the generic name of the med, type, and then do a search for that med, liver injury. Do a search for that med, cholestasis. Do a search for that med, cholestatic. Do a search for that med, bile, and see what you can find. Yeah. So that practitioner, being that she was so smart, obviously. Yeah, she got blocked. You're welcome to come at me on social media. I don't mind. You're just not going to stay long. Anyway. Oh, and for you folks who watch me here and you've decided to call my office number and tell me that I'm wrong or that you don't like what I'm doing or that you don't like how I present it, it's cool. You can call. Do you think I'm here because I care what you think? Have fun with that. So let's get into the questions now. Marjolina asks, do you think that keto rash could be vitamin A detox? I used to experience very aggressive keto rash when I did lots of dairy and eggs. So absolutely. I mean, one of the things that a lot of people will push as being one of the benefits of carnivore, one of the observed benefits of many carnivore diets is that their eczema goes away. Because they're now on a low vitamin A. An all muscle meat carnivore diet is a high zinc, low copper, low vitamin A diet, and so then they see their eczema go away, and that's what Grant had. Grant Genereux. Oh, and somebody told me that I was stealing Grant Genereux's work and not giving him credit when I mention him constantly on my channel. And Grant comes into my network. I'm going to go to the inner circle after this, my private video Q&A, where I can be more controversial, if you will. I can speak more freely. But Grant comes on my inner circle group once a month to answer questions. He obviously really thinks I'm stealing his work, and I never give him any credit, obviously. If you want to read 3 free ebooks that Grant wrote, go to ggenereux.blog. Here, I'll type it in here. Genereux blog. He has 3 free ebooks. He's obviously trying to profit off of this and not share it with the world. Grant talks about his basic diet. Grant's diet approach is very simple. It's very simple and very straightforward, and it's working for him. Now, not everybody wants to eat the same 3 foods every day, 3 times a day for years. Some people would rather be in prison than that. My program goes into my program. I have an endorsement from Grant on the front page of my website. He endorses the Love Your Liver program. He's so bitter about me stealing his work, obviously. Yeah, that's why we email all the time, and I consider him a friend. It's because I stole his work. Anyway, but Grant had eczema. He fixed it. Keto rash, when people do, so the keto, so imagine this. How do they cause liver injury, aka cholestasis? Let me fix my camera just a little bit. What's one of the diets they use that I mentioned earlier? They'd use high-fat diets to cause cholestasis. So we have that set up. What macronutrient causes us to absorb even more vitamin A into our liver and into our fat tissues? That would be dietary fat. We're not going along very. How do we get lots of vitamin A in the system? We eat high vitamin A foods. So what happens? So for those of you who don't understand what liver injury and cholestasis and toxic bile in the blood is, I'm going to give you a quick overview here. So when your liver gets injured or your bile ducts so I want you to think of toxic bile. Toxic bile is your liver's poop. It is the most toxic waste in your body. The most toxic thing. If you think your liver detoxes stuff, your liver doesn't just take poisonous compounds that come into it and process them and then they magically poof disappear. That's not how detox works. Your liver filters them out. Your liver is by definition a filter. A filter takes things out of something else. That's a filter. Your liver is a filter. It is also what I call a sewage processing plant because it takes those compounds that it gets and it changes them into other things. Now, if you wanted to go and look up intoxication or intoxification, that's actually, or biotransformation, that's actually the process by when your liver gets a poison. And as it's trying to process the poison, it actually makes it more toxic. That's not good. Everybody says carotenoids can't hurt you. But beta carotene eventually turns into 13-cis-retinoic acid, Accutane, all-trans-retinoic acid, Retin A, 9-cis-retinoic acid, alitretinoin, chemotherapy. It can take things and turn them into more toxic things. The biggest example of this would be alcohol. Most people are familiar with this. Ethanol. When you drink alcohol, it's not actually eventually the alcohol that would cause you a hangover or the actual ethanol that would cause you to die of alcohol poisoning. What hangovers are and what alcohol poisoning is, it's the acetaldehyde that the alcohol turns into. So we just have very many examples. Methanol, if people drink wood alcohol, methanol, it's not the methanol that kills them, it's the formaldehyde it turns into in your body. So we make these things more toxic. And liver injury, so we take in these things, they cause liver injury to the toxic bile. The toxic bile has this stuff in it. One of the things that they use retinoic acid for, the most poisonous form of vitamin A, is they use it as what they call a yellow peel. You can look up a yellow peel or a chemical peel, a retinoic chemical peel. They use retinoic acid. They rub it on your face. They rub it on your face and it melts the top layers of your skin cells off. What do you think that could do to your liver cells, your liver's bile ducts, your big bile ducts, your gut? Think of it as like hot lava. It's going to eat holes everywhere. It eats holes in your liver, the little bile ducts, the big bile ducts, your leaky gut. And you leak toxic bile into your blood. That's liver injury, cholestasis, what I call toxic bile in blood. I took out the because it fits better on Twitter that way. So when you start seeing skin issues, I want you to understand the detox order now. So your liver and the bile is the best way for your body to get rid of poison. That's the best way. By pooping it out. You put it in the bile, so the bile is your liver's poop. You put that into your real poop, and then you poop it out. That's the plan. Okay, so what happens if you start getting toxic bile in your blood? What's the first place after? You want to get rid of it through the bile, but I should say, what's number 2 on that list? Where does it go next? Your kidneys. What did Grant almost probably close to dying from? He had chronic kidney disease. So he had eczema, he had kidney disease, chronic kidney disease. Oh, and he's now the only person his nephrologists have ever seen completely recover from chronic kidney disease. That's pretty good. So it goes to your kidneys next. Now, what happens if your kidneys can't handle whatever's coming to them, or your kidneys are not made to get rid of the things that are coming to it? It comes out through your skin. That's what it does. What happens in pregnancy? Go look up intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy, pruritus, Pruritis, pruritus. That's itching. During pregnancy, it's very well known that women start backing up bile into their blood. Let me find this. Normal, let me see. Sometimes I have trouble finding this study. I don't know why. Why it's use the right keywords. There it is. Is normal pregnancy cholestatic? That's the paper. Let me put this in here. They're asking a question. Is normal pregnancy cholestatic? Is it normal these days, with as toxic as everybody is? Just so happens that vitamin A causes cholestasis and copper causes cholestasis, and women are even more susceptible to getting copper toxicity than men. And birth control raises vitamin A and copper in the blood. We've known that since 1975. I have the video on this channel. What's the last line of this paper? It is concluded that normal pregnancy is associated with mild subclinical cholestasis. It is concluded that normal pregnancy is associated with mild subclinical cholestasis. Subclinical cholestasis means it's below their ability to figure out or find. So if you go, well, I went to my doctor, I asked them if I had cholestasis. They said, no, I didn't. Or obviously you don't. Subclinical means they can't find it, but they know it's there. Let me give you another example of subclinical vitamin A toxicity. In the research, there's a guy, a case study, he was taking 50,000 units of vitamin A a day. 50,000 a day. And he was probably eating sweet potatoes and carrots and spinach and all this stuff to try to boost his vitamin A. They looked at his blood vitamin A. It was 18, which is technically deficient. And people go, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to tell you that just if you have low vitamin A and you didn't earn that through multiple years of depleting vitamin A in your liver, if you have low vitamin A and you have never done a low vitamin A diet, you have vitamin A toxicity and a really bad liver. The worst people I see came to me with the lowest vitamin A. And then what happened in this study? I've seen this in real life. Over the next 12 weeks, this guy's vitamin A, the doctor said, you got vitamin A toxicity. We just know it. We're pretty sure you have vitamin A toxicity, even though your vitamin A is low. Would that be subclinical? They took him off the vitamin A. They probably told him to change his diet and eat low vitamin A foods. Over the next 12 weeks, his vitamin A went from an 18 to a 62. He had vitamin A toxicity in his liver. And it finally started coming out. I had a guy in 6 months. His initial vitamin A level was at 25. 3 months later, it was at a 52. 6 months later, it was 125. You can store a ton of vitamin A in your liver, and it doesn't always come out into your blood. So blood tests for vitamin A are not very useful. And then people are going to say, but you just said serum retinol goes up with age, so you're saying something about blood tests for vitamin A, and I'm saying yes. If you are one of the majority of people where your vitamin A is actually going up over time, over a long period of time, your liver is absolutely getting more full of vitamin A. We can be sure of that. But when people have a low vitamin A level and they didn't earn that over a long period of time, you have no idea what's in their liver, and it's probably full. So anyway, keto rash. It's absolutely bile related, probably bile and vitamin A related. I mean, we know that vitamin A causes cholestasis and increases the bile in the blood. And we know that you were eating a ton of vitamin A. So there you go. Yeah. Forever Young says, do you recommend or use milk thistle for liver detox? Absolutely not. Never. No. I just didn't. I think I went over this last week. I think last week I went over a study where they were showing bad changes in the liver from taking milk thistle. Whatever milk thistle does for the liver, it just makes it look nice. And people may improve a little bit, but it's not doing good things. Actually, the cytochrome P450 system in the liver, which is another one of your detox pathways for vitamin A, it goes ADH, alcohol dehydrogenase, ADH, to aldehyde dehydrogenase, ALDH, and then it goes through the cytochrome system. And it's been shown in the research that milk thistle slows down certain cytochromes. You don't want that. I never use milk thistle, ever. Okay. Kartikeya asks, could you talk about why fructose is a stressor? From what I understand, sugar can ferment in the presence of fiber/starch producing ethanol, stressing ADH. What if we separate fructose and fiber? If you're talking about separating fructose and fiber, I don't know why you'd want to just take fructose by itself, unless you were in the weird Ray Peat world of creating new clients for me. What is it? You'll be interested in this paper from Lustig called Fructose. It's alcohol without the buzz. A really fun chart in it. Let me go see if they have the whole paper. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to read the last part of this. Thus, fructose can exert detrimental health effects beyond its calories and in ways that mimic those of ethanol, its metabolic cousin. Indeed, the only distinction is that because fructose is not metabolized in the central nervous system, it does not exert the acute neuronal depression experienced by those imbibing ethanol. These metabolic and hedonic analogies argue that fructose should be thought of as, quote, alcohol without the buzz. And there's a great chart in here. Let me see which table it is. Probably towards the end here, of course, so it makes me scroll through it. The phenotypes of long-term energy substrate exposure. This is table 2. So the ones that were similar, so long-term ethanol exposure tends to lead towards hypertension. So does long-term fructose exposure. Long-term ethanol, cardiomyopathy. Long-term fructose, myocardial infarction, which is heart attack. Long-term alcohol, dyslipidemia. Long-term fructose, dyslipidemia. Long-term ethanol, pancreatitis. Long-term fructose, pancreatitis. Long-term ethanol, obesity. Long-term fructose, obesity. Long-term ethanol, malnutrition. Long-term fructose, malnutrition. Long-term ethanol, hepatic dysfunction, liver problems. Long-term fructose, hepatic dysfunction. Long-term ethanol, alcohol addiction. Long-term fructose, habituation, if not addiction. That's pretty damn similar. You don't need to eat fructose. I wouldn't worry about the fructose and the fiber. In the program, I talk about fiber and adjusting fiber to a person's needs. But like trying to force fructose in the system, I wouldn't do it. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's not that people have to avoid it completely. I'll still have some bananas in a week. I might have a couple of apples in a week. But in terms of fructose, that's about all I consume. So James says, have you noticed anything unique about men with hair loss in blood/mineral tests, or do you think it's mainly hyperadrenal activity and calcification from vitamin A? So calcification from hypercalcemic calcification or metastatic calcification, there is the ivory dome theory out there. You can look up ivory dome theory, which is about calcification of the tiniest blood vessels in the scalp. And so those blood vessels get blocked off, right? The smallest blood vessels would calcify shut first. Kind of like if you had hard water in a house, the smallest pipes are going to be the ones that block up first. So that makes sense. That could happen. And I absolutely deal with bringing down high calcium on hair tests every day. Vitamin A, look up vitamin A, hypervitaminosis A and hypercalcemia. That causes that. I'm going to tell you that copper toxicity goes right along with high calcium. It's just something that I remember noticing this on hair tests a very long time ago, that calcium and copper would go up and down together. Not every single time, but a huge percentage of the time. Vitamin D supplements cause calcification and hypercalcemia. So we don't want to do those. Don't ever take calcium supplements unless it's like to get you out of some acute short-term calcium deficit. And magnesium deficiency. If you don't have the proper antagonist of calcium, magnesium, you'll get calcium problems almost by definition. So you could have a normal amount of calcium and a magnesium deficiency, and then you allow the calcium to cause you problems. So those are the big things in that calcium problem. If you were to go look up Malondialdehyde, let me just do a search here on PubMed. Let's go. Did you catch the aldehyde? Malondialdehyde, and then alopecia. So run through these papers. Like here's one. Investigation of oxidative stress in patients with alopecia areata by measuring the levels of malondialdehyde and ceruloplasmin in the blood. Conclusions from this paper. Let me paste this here. This is something that nobody's talked about with malondialdehyde that I know of. Maybe they have. Wait. Yeah, there it is. Conclusions. Patients with alopecia areata displayed significant plasma malondialdehyde levels, which could lead to damage in erythrocytes, red blood cells, exposed to high concentrations of free radicals. These results demonstrate the presence of an imbalance in the oxidant-antioxidant system and support the concept of a possible role of oxidative stress in alopecia areata idiopathogenesis, the way it develops. Okay. Wait. Let's debunk some of the. Let's just hit on the copper, the bioavailable copper ceruloplasmin junkie misled people again. So we have this paper saying that, okay, we've got this alopecia areata, an autoimmune hair loss condition. And they like to say that low ceruloplasmin is like the cause of everything. That's what that group is saying. You need more quote unquote bioavailable copper, which isn't in the literature really anywhere in the way that they talk about it, their concept. And they say that you need more ceruloplasmin to deliver the copper to where it's supposed to go. Well, let's just take this line out of this paper. Ceruloplasmin level was higher in the alopecia areata group. Oops. Oh. Why weren't they protected? But copper's so important to your hair and ceruloplasmin. Come on now. Do I have to do this every week? Really? Every week. I can do this every week. You guys have seen me. So we have malondialdehyde. We have metastatic calcification of the capillaries that feed the hair. So if you block off the blood flow, you're going to block off the nerves, because the nerves need blood. And you're in the body. Your body is okay. Here's the thing that we don't like, but it's the reality. You can lose your hair. Your body doesn't worry about it so much because it's not survival necessary, right? It's reproduction kind of necessary. It's more of like a superficial naive, I'm not naive, a superficial vain thing, right? And I'm not going to say humans are vain. We're all vain creatures. That would be silly to deny that. And so it's always the thing that people want to fix first. But I'm going to tell you that in terms of repairing this problem, it's one of the last things the body fixes. It's just the way it is. It's what we seem to see. is that hair stuff is the last thing. And it makes sense because the body says, look, I got to fix my liver. I got to fix my kidneys. I got to fix my spleen. I got to fix all this stuff first before I worry about the hair. It's like, yeah, I know you want to look good, but we got to have you alive first. So that's my idea. And then zinc and copper. There's an interesting thing that somebody brought up to me, and that other people, Andrew Baird and I, Andrew Baird, just want to say thank you here on the live stream for, he's the guy who does the timestamps for the videos. But Andrew and I were talking about it once in a chat, and it seems that the people who are kind of, if you want to call them like a higher zinc person naturally, but they go low zinc, they get a zinc deficiency. The higher zinc types, if you will, and I haven't laid out this type. This is just a conversation that we had, and we were agreeing on it. The natural higher zinc types, and then who get a zinc deficiency, are the types who lose more hair, but they tend to keep their hair color longer. So they tend to keep their hair color longer than the other types. Yeah, I had some hair thinning. And yes, I've kept of my buddies, I'm generally keeping the color of my hair longer. And as I've done the vitamin A detox and all this stuff longer, my hair actually got darker, not lighter. Okay. The higher, if you want to call them higher copper types, which is hilarious because everybody says gray hair is a copper deficiency. The higher copper types tend to go gray early. Very early, but they keep their hair. So there's these two kind of patterns where lots of gray keep more hair. And then the other type is darker hair for longer, but they lose more. Do I have specific patterns on this stuff? No. But I was just talking to a good buddy of mine, and he was saying that his hair, his barber notices that his hair is getting darker. Some of his gray hair is returning its color. What the zinc copper part of hair problems is a zinc to copper imbalance. So let's say somebody could have, like let's say I have a zinc deficiency, which I did. I'm pretty well fixed now. But I'm the higher zinc type, and I got a zinc deficiency, and so I started having some hair thinning. Okay. But other types come to me where they have high copper, and let's say somebody could even have high copper and normal zinc, but they have an imbalance. So it's the imbalance between the two, not high zinc or low zinc or okay zinc. It's always the ratio between them that seems to determine how this manifests. And I don't have time to go into all the permutations of that right now. But yeah, so the three things: we could have calcification problems, we could have malondialdehyde problems. Oh, would that play into ALDH? And malondialdehyde is a fatty acid aldehyde. For all of you folks who are throwing in tons of fat, how might you create more fatty acid aldehydes? Oh, eat lots of fat. Okay. Nick asks, could you go into how vitamin C affects ALDH? I think I've read you say it gives the body a break from detoxing to catch up. This is a concept I'm not going to get into this too much here. In terms of using vitamin C to modulate one's detox, that's like giving people tons of rope to hang themselves with. See if I can easily find the study showing that vitamin C slows down ADH and ALDH. It's not popping up quickly. Oh, wait. That's what I didn't. I did vitamin C instead of ascorbate or ascorbic acid. I believe this is it. Influence of food commodities on hangover based on alcohol dehydrogenase and aldehyde dehydrogenase activities. Let me see if they just mention it here so I don't have to go and look at the... There's the... Well, here's just one quote. Ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. Don't get into the food-based vitamin C or the whole food vitamin C. That is a garbage, non-scientific, complete garbage concept. That was made up in a book. Just so happens one of the authors of that book who made that up is also a huge pusher of cod liver oil. Weird that people would be misled in one area and they'd be misled in another area. Here's a quote. Ascorbic acid significantly decreased the activity of the ADH, alcohol dehydrogenase, to a very large magnitude. Ascorbic acid significantly decreased the activity of the ADH to a very large magnitude. Wow. Yeah, they were talking about foods here. Let's see. Did we have another one? I know it slowed down ALDH. Also, I think they just didn't mention it. Where is the paper? I mean the chart, the table. Let me put this. I'll put this in the... Here we go. There's this paper. Okay, let's see. Table 2. Come on. Why is it not searching the table? Okay, come on. I just got to look it up. Got to read every single food commodity here. Okay, here it is. Table 3. Effects of dairy products, cereals, pulses, spices, and other miscellaneous food products on ADH and ALDH activity. So I just told you they said ADH. It slowed it down. ADH. Vitamin C slowed down ALDH by 88.77%. Vitamin C slowed down ALDH by 88.97%. But then they didn't mention that. They didn't mention ALDH. Weird. It was like, I'm looking at some of the other numbers on here. Like I think nutmeg slowed it down 46%, and ADH 47%, 46%, ALDH 97.9%. This is why I tell people all these spices, all these aromatic spices and herbs and stuff you're using, killing your detox. It's killing it. But ADH and ALDH was absolutely the most on fenugreek, 86.8% for ADH and 62% for ALDH. But vitamin C was huge on here. Huge. You can look at this list of foods and these are like, everybody's like, these are so healthy. And it's totally crushing your detox system. Just crushing. Your healthy diet is probably bullshit in terms of detox. And that, why would all these people who are on healthy diets all be obsessed with detoxing? I wonder. We have all been misled. So don't be mad at me. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just here pointing it out. And everyone whose income relies on this garbage is going to hate me at some point. But that's how it does. And I believe that when ALDH is slowed down, it also decreases bile production and excretion. That is a theory of, I believe that's my original theory. And if you look in the research and you start correlating things, it starts to make sense. So Butch says, I use a prebiotic blend for regularity. I don't have people purposely do prebiotics at all. Okay. It has acacia fiber. That's all right. And agave inulin. I do not like isolated inulin at all. There is a paper. This is where people try to say, but soluble fiber is bad. It increased cancer in this one study. And I go, no, that's inulin. Inulin has been shown to cause all sorts of problems. I don't like inulin at all. I think this is the paper. Where was it? Where's the... Anyway, oh wait, here it is. Promotion of intestinal tumor formation by inulin is associated with an accumulation of cytosolic beta-catenin in MIN mice, M-I-N mice. I never felt good on inulin, ever. Right, I remember I think I was in med school, and I was like, oh, Jerusalem artichokes have a bunch of prebiotic inulin in them. I'm going to eat them. And I ate them, and I bloated up, and I felt awful. And anytime I tried to eat inulin foods, I felt horrible. And then I see that then somebody on the network was trying to bring up, I'm worried about soluble fiber because in the study, they were trying to equate inulin, a very specific soluble fiber, with all soluble fibers. You can't do that. And then I went, wow, I remember I felt like crap on inulin, and any other probiotic I ever took with inulin, and I felt like garbage. I don't like inulin. And then somebody showed me that it's bad for you, and I went, makes sense to me. So I would personally not do inulin. And apple fiber's fine, pectin, and baobab fruit, that's super high in vitamin C. I would not tend to use that. It works pretty good for you. Well, you know what? Keto works great for people until their liver basically falls apart. There's many things that work well. This is the problem with ascorbic acid. Let me tell you a quick story about me. And now that I know what I was doing with my bile. Oh, I do have research showing that vitamin C in high doses increases fatty liver. What does that mean it's doing to the bile? You're not pushing the bile out of your liver. You're stopping it, and it's going back into your liver. You're storing it in your liver. That's fatty liver. Fatty liver is storing toxic bile in your liver. That's what it is. That's why your liver turns yellow when you have fatty liver. What color is bile and vitamin A? And bitter poisons that people tend to eat. Have you ever noticed that bitter things are tending to be yellow a lot of times? Weird that this yellow color comes up a lot. Yellowish or brownish. So I used to, before I knew about all this stuff, and I thought I was a real smart, practitioner, I got some seasonal allergies. And I thought, I'll do high dose vitamin C. I was taking 8 grams a day of ascorbic acid powder, non-GMO ascorbic acid powder. And it shut down my allergies. It worked. It felt good to me, right? I mean, I'm saying it's the same thing. You can take things that are bad for you. Most of us have done this. We've done a diet plan that in the start felt good. And over time, it all just falls apart. I did it. That's how I got here. I figured this stuff out. I've messed myself up in many, many, many ways. That's how I know all these ways mess us up. And now I can look at things and go, oh, that's going to mess you up that way. And oh, that's going to mess you up that way. That's how I got here. So shutting down the liver's bile can make people feel amazing. I shut down my seasonal allergies because I shut down my bile coming out, basically. And you ever notice there's this one thing called rebound scurvy? You can look it up online, where people will be taking high dose vitamin C, and then all of a sudden they stop it. and then they get symptoms of scurvy within days. Explain this to me. How in the hell do you take high dose vitamin C for months to years, and then all of a sudden you stop it, and 2 days later you have a vitamin C deficiency? Give me a break that's the explanation. Well, if you were to go and see that there's a paper called Hypervitaminosis A and Scurvy, where they looked at dogs and they said the symptoms of vitamin A toxicity and the symptoms of scurvy are exactly the same. Get this concept. High dose vitamin C shuts down your bile dumping. Doesn't make you any less toxic. You're actually getting more toxic in your liver because you're not dumping the bile, right? You're storing fatty liver. And then you stop the vitamin C, and within days, the blockage of your bile effectively is removed. What do you start dumping? Extra toxic bile into your system that still has leaky bile problems. And then it goes into your system, and what's in your bile? Is vitamin A in your bile? Is that how your body gets rid of it? Yes. You start dumping tons of vitamin A toxic bile into your system, and your problems come back, and maybe even more problems at the start. So no, we don't. If somebody wanted to use vitamin C to shut down their detox or to slow it down, that's the kind of stuff that I manage for people as needed in my office hours sessions for my clients who I'm working directly with. I don't give general recommendations on using stuff to slow down the detox to make somebody more comfortable on YouTube. I'm sorry, I'm more responsible than that. This is not a game. So Matthew says, good afternoon. How many days do you work out a week? What resistance training split do you do? I do upper body / lower body split training 4 times a week. Keep up your excellent work. Well, thank you, Matthew. Well, I've got my first personal trainer certification at age 18. So I have been and I started lifting dumbbells in my bedroom at age 11. So I've been in this game a long time. And that you do, as they talk about in bodybuilding, like they will say this guy has a certain maturity of his muscles, and it's really just like you accumulate the training over time. So this is not something new to me. I use a kind of specific form of biofeedback, which is testing my system for people usually want to think it's like muscle testing, but it's beyond muscle testing. It's not the strength of your muscle that you're looking at. You're looking at the overall relaxation of the system and things that make your system less tense. I should say tension of the system. Less tension in the system is good. So you can ask your system questions. And for those of you Christians out there, you could say you're asking your body, which is made by God, these questions, if you choose to think of it that way, which is probably how it ends up being. But anyway, I will train by using biofeedback. I will train whatever tests well that day. And so the other day, let's say I did a workout kind of based on knees over toes guy. So I love the knees over toes guy stuff. If you haven't seen him on social media, go look up Athletic Truth Group or Knees Over Toes Guy. You can find him, especially on Instagram. His stuff is amazing for especially lower body and core stuff. Absolutely amazing. Upper body, I tend to do, I've always been into kind of the gymnastic strength training. I do a lot, front levers training. I'm not doing them yet, but I'm on my way. Front levers, back levers. I'm working on, trying to train the human flag now. Doing all sorts of, I like the gymnastic stuff because my mentality is if you look at, let's say, the people who are exercising the strongest or the best at the oldest ages, what types of exercises are they typically doing? So I'm always looking long-term longevity stuff. I always want long-term. I don't care about what the 20-year-old meatheads are doing, trying to tell everybody, you got to be deadlifting, bro. Deadlifting is the best. And I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. Not doing that anymore. I love it when 20-year-olds try to give advice on anything. I'm like, seriously? Go home. Go back to the dormitory, bro. No offense, 20-year-olds. If you're here and you're 20 and you're listening to this now, you're in a very good spot. But most 20-year-olds, it's like, empty your cup, man. You got a lot to learn. And don't be telling people with multiple kids and a mortgage and a job and all this stuff that what they should be doing. They should be doing all this stuff. No, shut up. Live a little longer before you give such strong advice. Anyway, they do body weight training. Push-ups, pull-ups, mobility. You know, they're doing stuff. There's only one. So when you talk about weight training, right? There's only one weight that you are guaranteed to have to deal with the rest of your life. It's called body weight. Right? That's it. That's the only weight that you are guaranteed to have to deal with the rest of your life. So if your training revolves around gaining more control of your body weight, you're on a good path. So I have several workouts that I do for different arm positions. I'm not going to get into all of this today, but yeah, I do a lot of gymnastic strength training oriented stuff. I do have some buys and try work for, the gun show with dumbbells. Of course I do that. Yeah. But yeah, it's basically gymnastic strength training for the upper body, knees over toes guy stuff for the lower body. And I put those together. I typically do in a day, whatever day I'm working out on, it's always full body because you can't do gymnastic strength training without using your lower body. And a lot of the knees over toes guy stuff uses, it's lower body, but it's really hard to do lower body without your core, right? So you kind of hit all of it in the same workout. I don't break up. I do whatever tests well. I might have a leg workout test well and two of my kind of smaller upper body workouts in a day. I might even do 3 upper body workouts in a day if it tests well. Like yesterday, I did my 10,000 steps in the morning, walked around the neighborhood about 4 miles, and I got my other steps in later that day. And then that afternoon, I went into the gym and I did a lower body workout, and I did 2 of my upper body segment workouts. But the day before that, I missed the gym because I was just so busy. So I don't mind with the way I feel now. I remember I'm 46. I'm on no hormones. I'm not on thyroid. I'm not on testosterone like most of the guys my age are these days who are working out hard. And that's just the truth, folks. Like most of the guys you see working out hard in their 40s and 50s these days, if they're looking pretty good and they're working out pretty hard, chances are they're on testosterone. It's just the way it is. It sucks. It's not a good sign. It means that generally the men and women are not healthy out there if they're having to be on hormones. And as you just saw in the testimonial, she reduced her bioidentical hormones by 50% in 9 weeks because she didn't need them so much. This is what we are doing. This is why I'm not on testosterone and I'm having amazing gains in the gym. I just went to the gym the other day. Every single weight increased. It was one of those days where I was like, whoa, this is even better than usual. But yeah, those are the 2 places I would start. I know some of the body weight stuff that I've used in the past that I've kind of I've looked into Ido Portal stuff. A lot of that stuff's really advanced for most people. There's Gymnastic Bodies is another one. Gold Medal Bodies, GMB.io. They've got good stuff. So that's the kind of gymnastic stuff, the knees over toes guy stuff. His stuff is entirely adequate for everything lower body. And now I'm getting back into doing some jumping type training and some running because my boy's playing basketball. I played basketball up through high school, and what I can tell you is if you don't train your springiness, you do lose it. So I'm trying to get back my springiness so I can, as he gets older, I want to play basketball with him and I want to be good. So that'll be fun. But so I just kind of put stuff in as it fits me, but I could see this type of workout. I add weights where I need to. I have a weight vest that I'll often add to lower body stuff. But I gave up all the heavy barbell squats and the deadlifts and stuff. I've been thinking about putting them back in just because I'm, a guy posted this on Twitter and he was like, as you get healthier and more fit, you tend to want to do harder things. And I was like, you get higher testosterone, you tend to want to do harder things. Actually, that was what he was saying. Higher testosterone tends to result in you wanting to do harder things. And I went, I'm seeing that in my own workouts, but I'm earning it. I'm not sticking it in with a needle or rubbing cream on or taking pills. So, and I just so you know, I have another client, very, very intelligent man who listened to what I said to do, the basics. He was not testing. I just gave him some of my basic stuff. He later came to me and he said, I think I'm going to be able to get off my testosterone very soon. We're as good as anabolic steroids. No, I won't say that. Nothing is stronger than drugs. Like drugs, the poison always wins. So the drugs are stronger. Don't ever think that you can like take medication and then undo the damage it creates by taking supplements. No. The poison always wins. We have to stop intoxing before we start detoxing. That's why when you're still intoxing, whether you realize it or not, and you try to start detoxing, that's when you particularly feel like dog shit. Don't do that. I just did a new article series in the Love Your Liver network a little while ago talking about mold, and it's like, this is the kind of practitioner I am. I would tell people to save their money on working with me if they have to and get the hell out of their moldy house or get the mold taken care of by a licensed mold remediator. I tell them, don't work with me if you can't afford it and get the mold taken care of at the same time. Get the mold out. Get the mercury fillings out of your mouth. Get the water filters you need in your house so you can stop drinking and showering in copper-filled water. Do these things. If you everybody's got, finance. Finance is a reality in today's world, especially these days. Thanks, Joe Biden. It's an issue. So if you got a deal, I want people to get better. If that means they work with me, that's great. If that means they put their money towards stuff that is poisoning them, like for example, if you have amalgam fillings in your mouth, you have mercury toxicity, guaranteed. Every day it's getting worse. It's slowly getting worse every day. I'm not trying to scare you. It's just you have mercury in your mouth. Every day you're absorbing more of it. You are mercury toxic. You don't need to get a test. Why would you waste money on it? You're breathing mercury vapor every time you chew, every time you drink something hot. We don't need to test it. Get the shit out of your mouth. That's the first step with an IAOMT.org, the International Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Toxicology. They train dentists to take it out so they protect you. Here's something you need to know. When your dentist has not been trained by IAOMT and they're going to take mercury fillings out of your mouth, you would not imagine the stuff they do to protect themselves. They've got masks on and all these other things going. to protect themselves from the mercury that they're about to liberate from your mouth that they so lovingly put there in the first place. We could say one of my other favorite sayings, which is it's a poison on the way in and it's a poison on the way out. So the dentist knows it's a poison. That's why they protect themselves so much. But when they take it out of you, they are scared to death of it. The IAOMT guys will protect you as much as they try to protect themselves. If you get your fillings removed in a not so good way, you're going to get exposed to a lot more mercury than you need to. And we just had somebody in the network who removed 7 fillings at once. I didn't realize she had so many. We didn't talk about how many she had. And she got 7 at once. And once they were out, she started dumping all that old mercury like crazy into her system. She was not exposed to it during it. We stopped intoxing so she could start detoxing. We got the fillings out of her mouth. They stopped putting it in so much. And then it just, your body is amazingly designed. You can get rid of these poisons out of your system. You don't need to believe these practitioners who are like, oh, you need this supplement to detox this, and this supplement to detox this, and this supplement to detox this, and binders and all. No. First thing you must do that is most important is stop intoxing. Then your body will start detoxing with what it can, with the resources it has. It's very simple. I got to get going here pretty soon. Okay, let me just do this last question. Tiariana, hope I said that right. I got sick due to mold, Lyme, and glyphosate poisoned well water. Can I get healed with your methods, or do I have to use those liver toxic herbs that are always recommended for these issues? Nobody needs to use herbs for anything. Nobody has an herb deficiency. If you were to use herbs in your situation, what those herbs would be doing is, so what a lot of your symptoms are from is from your toxic bile coming out and leaking into your blood. That's where those symptoms come from. So let me go over just these quick things before I got to go. Mold. Kind of went over that. You either got to get the hell away from the mold, or you got to get that mold taken care of and make sure that it's not going to come back. Priority number 1. Absolutely. Lyme. I'm just going to tell you the truth here. I don't treat Lyme. Well, I just had a woman who's in the network say that she's not even sure that the Lyme's there anymore. She feels so good. And she worked with me directly, testing, blood testing, hair testing. I don't treat Lyme. I treat the whole system. She doesn't even know if she has Lyme anymore. I've had people spend tens of thousands of dollars on Lyme practitioners and, getting needles stuck in their arms for IVs and things shoved up their butt for enemas and everything. And they start doing my stuff and they feel better than they ever did spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. Like I know a person personally who spent $50,000 getting one baby out of fertility treatments. I'm a hell of a lot cheaper than $50,000. And we have women get pregnant and have the easiest pregnancies ever on our program. Like we just went over a couple weeks ago. I get people dangerously fertile, where that if they don't use the proper protection, they are going to get pregnant. Your body, human bodies want to get pregnant when they're healthy. Fertility is health. Health is fertility. If you are infertile, you are by definition unhealthy in some way. It's not a judgment. It's just the way it is. So Lyme, like I say, I don't deal with Lyme. I honestly, I ignore the whole Lyme problem is there because what I'm doing helps. Now, if you are in the mindset of you have to treat Lyme, come back and find me later. Last thing, glyphosate. Glyphosate, if you avoid it, it will likely come out of your system. If it's in your bile, it's not stuck there forever. I just saw Stephanie Seneff saying that like all the autism problems are related to glyphosate. And I'm like, come on. Come on. No, that's not. No. Anybody who ever says all disease is from one thing, they're either misinformed or they're kind of a Pied Piper leading you away from the other truths. Stephanie Seneff wrote in a paper, she brought my eyes open to the fact that glyphosate slows down some of the cytochromes involved in retinoic acid processing. And that symptoms of glyphosate poisoning looked exactly like vitamin A toxicity, especially the birth defect ones. She says that glyphosate slows down vitamin A detox. Vitamin A toxicity birth defects looked exactly like glyphosate birth defects. Now, Stephanie Seneff is on the board of the Weston Price Foundation. They love vitamin A. Does Stephanie Seneff talk about vitamin A toxicity anymore? Money does a hell of a thing to people, doesn't it? And I will always be grateful for Stephanie. I sent her an email once when I poisoned myself with MSM, methyl sulfonyl methane. And she told me, I think it's hydrogen sulfide. That was all I needed. I went and figured out how to fix it. So I will be forever grateful to her for that. But the fact that she has abandoned the vitamin A toxicity thing that she wrote about in her papers, that's like unforgivable to me. I'm sorry. So I got to get going now. So we've done an hour and a half. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm really got to get these super chats going. So for those of you who really want to get your questions answered, you can get them to the top of the queue. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. My social media and my website are down in the comments, or the information below this. That's nutritiondetective.com. Hope you come and join the program so you can get the benefits that the testimonial person, went over earlier in this live stream. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great weekend. Bye now.